Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our preview for Only Murders in the Building, Season 3, Episode 10, the big finale titled Opening Night. The curtain is going to rise on Death Rattle Dazzle.
Oh my goodness.
And will a killer be revealed? Listen, everybody.
Absolutely, yes.
This is, I can't help but be dramatic. This is going to be, hopefully, the best finale we've ever had. Like, there's an opportunity for some really, really cool twist. We both seem to think that the show is hoodwinking us a lot on who the actual killer here is at the end of the day, and that could be revealed in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I've been sitting on the theory that there's two killers all season long, that somebody tried or attempted to kill him at the theater. Seemingly, that's Donna, and that somebody else took the opportunity of, somebody already did this. I need him dead to be able to move forward with what I want to do. And that's Robert Tolbert. And I think we're going to find that out in this episode. I know I've been dying on this hill all season long, but I truly think it's him. He has a real motive for this.
If you guys did not see the review that we posted yesterday, I climbed aboard Jess's Tolbert Hill in that episode and was just like, you know what? You've been right all this time. It's not Cliff. They're saving a big twist. We'll get into a little bit of how that could work, some of the details that we have about opening night, this big all-important episode, including a really fun idea for what the cliffhanger could be here for a potential season 4.
Absolutely. But before we go any further, we are going to have an Only Murders in the Building live stream. So that's going to be on October 3rd. That's going to be over on our Patreon. We'll have a link for you below. And we're going to be talking all about the finale that night, getting into all the theories about what's going to be coming up for next season, talking about who's the killer or killers, how we feel about it. You guys can ask us any questions that you have about the finale. We'll tell you everything that we know about the next season. If it's, hopefully been renewed by that point. It's just going to be a really fun time having a killer party over on our Patreon. Thank you to all of our Patreons for helping support the channel. And it really, it helps us continue to make videos for you guys. And the live streams are really fun to be able to jump in and talk about Only Murders. We've been doing it all season long, but this one, it's the killer party.
Yeah, it's got to be special. This is the end of the season, everybody.
Yep.
And there's a lot of irony in the fact that the end of this season is titled Opening Night, because it's basically, we're ending in a way in the same way that we started. We started with Ben's opening night. Now it is opening night for the musical. And here's the synopsis. We'll use this as a jumping off point because we got a lot of other stuff to talk about. Curtain call on season 3. Charles, Mabel, and Oliver race to entrap the killer on opening night as the musical thrills its Broadway audience. The trio brave further twists and turns from behind, above, and all around the stage, which makes this feel like there's going to be, like, I don't know, some elaborate chase sequence or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the synopsis kind of makes me worried that the killer's trying to kill them because they're getting a little bit too close to, Donna and or Robert Tolbert.
This is what makes it so chaotic, is that if this opening night is really going to happen, Charles is in the play. Like, is Charles going to go from singing about the Pickwick triplets to, like, running backstage and, like, trying to take out somebody in costume?
I think for the finale, I was expecting there to be opening night. There was going to be some of that. But I think I'm also really hoping that there's going to be more at the actual Arconia where Ben was actually killed.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they've solved the case of what's going on at the theater with the cookie, with Donna, with all of that. But what actually happened at the Arconia is where he actually died.
There's a lot that needs to be covered here, and that's what makes this finale hopefully longer than 30 minutes, because
I hope so.
We ended this past episode in a courtroom, and presumably there's got to be something that happens there first and foremost. And the episode ended basically with this question as to, if Loretta didn't do it, who did? And Donna's sitting right there. The problem is that I think a lot of the information, tinfoil hat time, I think a lot of what
Mhm.
they said about the night that Ben was killed was probably accurate from the standpoint of, okay, it made sense that Donna would presumably do this. It seems like they have some pieces together, but they don't have any proof. They don't have any way that they can be like, you're accused, Donna. And then like, what's she going to do? Okay.
Okay, I'm just laughing because this doesn't make any sense to me as a motive to kill somebody. I already said this
Yeah.
in the review. I won't go too much into it, but you're going to kill somebody that you can just fire and replace. You're the producer, you're the money person. You make the calls, you decide. You see a bad review that's going to be coming out saying that Ben is the problem, you make the decision. Like, Donna has been doing this a really long time. Was she just killed off every person that's had, a bad review before a play comes out? No, like that doesn't make any sense. Like, it's way more complicated to kill somebody than to just go in and be like, Ben, you're out, Jonathan, you're in, and that's what we're doing tonight because my money is behind this play, not yours.
It's a very questionable motive. Like, there's no way of getting around that. It seems like this is what the show is rolling with
It is.
for what happened at opening night. This is where we get back to what you said about them needing to be in the Arconia more, because this show has glossed over entirely what happened at the Arconia for most of the season. I get it. Broadway is big, it's flashy, it's different than what the show has done at any point in the past, but we need to focus more on what actually happened there because, as we've said, we don't believe that Donna is the person who actually killed Ben at the end of the day, and they're saving another twist that will be revealed in this finale.
Yeah, and I've said it a bunch of times. It's Robert Tolbert. He has the motive. He was fired on opening night. Being someone who is a documentarian. He did all this work before doing this documentary on Ben. He's put time, he's put money. Then he did all this time following him. Again, time, money. He's hoping to get his money back from this documentary. He gets fired the night of, so he's not going to be able to complete this documentary. All that time, all that money, just money is a big motivator to kill people. We've seen that, time and time again. And it makes sense, right? And that's why I feel like even though they've given us this, maybe Donna had this desperate moment and she didn't think she could just fire him. So she decided that murder was better. That seems to be where we are. But this motive for Robert Tolbert, who really feels like he's the only person that really had that motive to do this, unless they swing it all back around and it turns out that it was actually Dickie, that there was like a little bit of a time period between when he left the Arconia and when he went to the sewing circle and sort of what was going on there, that maybe there was a period of time that he was able to do it. I feel really confident that it's Robert Tolbert. You're going to bring in Jesse Williams and you're just going to have him be a love interest. Like, why? He feels like he took this role because it's an iconic show working with iconic people, but that they were going to give him like a really fun, juicy role. They weren't just going to be like, you're a hot guy. You're going to come in and do hot guy stuff. And then that's going to be it. You're going to be nice, hot guy.
Yeah, he already knows how to be nice, hot guy. I think it's fun if he gets an opportunity to do something that's very, very different. And here, okay, I'm gonna go really crazy here for a moment. This is get all your tinfoil hats on.
Oh my God! All right, tinfoil hat theory time. Let's go.
All right, Tolbert did it. Like, I think we're both in agreement in that point that Tolbert is responsible for it. He saw an opportunity here at the end of this. He didn't necessarily know who did the stuff at the theater, but he's like, okay, if I kill Ben here, whoever did the stuff at the theater will end up being accused for it. I can join the investigation. But here is where things start to get really crazy. I've got a couple really crazy possible leading into season 4 theories. What if they don't catch Tolbert? What if they actually don't have closure at the end of this season where they sort of figure it out and they're like, okay, we said that it was possible that Donna could go up there and push Ben, but it doesn't seem like there's any evidence of her doing that. Maybe she does have some sort of alibi or way that she wouldn't have done that. Maybe Cliff, he stress dances. There's no way he could keep that a secret. There's something missing. They figure out that it's Tolbert, but we actually haven't seen Tolbert in the present on the show for a couple of episodes. He was not around for the interviews, and in this episode, we saw him just via flashback. We didn't actually see Jesse. So maybe, is it possible that Tolbert knows that at some point they're going to kind of figure this out, that he's only going to be able to take them off the scent for so long? When they go to try to accuse him, he's not there. They don't know where he is. Maybe he's off working on some other project somewhere else in the world.
Or it's possible that they just don't have enough evidence, that they have enough theories, but they just don't have the proof. And Donna goes up for both of those murders. And he is able to go off and, the only person that really knew that he was fired is dead. So, no Ben, no firing. That didn't happen, right? He can just continue on, push out this documentary, put it together the way that he wants with enough footage to be like, Ben was killed and who did it? Donna. Like, he's going to have enough that he's able to edit together a story that he could actually get away with it. He'll just be in the wind.
This is just really fun to me because this is season 3. You want to shake up the form as much as you possibly can. Yes, the trio are very good at solving crimes, and them not being able to catch Tolbert in this instance, it doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that Tolbert did a very good job of covering his tracks. He knew when to potentially leave this world at whatever opportunity he could. And it's, once again, a great setup for another season. Like you mentioned, you want Jesse to do something really cool. The idea of, okay, Jesse, you're actually going to be in multiple seasons. You're actually going to have a story that carries forward into season 4. Like, that's a fun thing to think about. There's no evidence that this is happening, but it's just, I think they're going to want to do something different at the end of the season versus the last couple.
Yeah, I mean, even if we don't see Jesse again next season and he's just in the wind and they're just like, oh man, like we solved it, but we couldn't really put enough proof on him about it. And now he's off doing whatever, filming baby elephants somewhere else, doing whatever. That it's like, okay, they got him, but they didn't get him. But that doesn't necessarily mean he needs to be back again next season. He could, maybe there'll be a season 5 and he shows back up then, and then they have something to get him with. Or maybe they just had a win, but also a loss. They got Donna, but they weren't able to get him.
I think an interesting idea for us all to kind of ponder over is that I'm sure the producers and Steve and Marty and Selena, like, they probably all had conversations about how many seasons of this show they want to do. We've talked about this before. We both want it to go on for many more years, but this is not going to be a 20 season show. Like, this is not going to go on forever.
No, this feels like 4 or 5 is enough. If they're going into 6 and 7 and 8, then it's just kind of like, okay, it's a lot. Like, I would, I'll take all the Only Murders you can give me, but it needs to still feel like it's in the realm of believability. You can't kill people in the building for 18 seasons.
Season 17 of Only Murders in the Building, they're going to be the only residents of the Arconia
left.
left.
And they're just killing each other.
Yeah. No, okay. The real sort of thinking here is that maybe they have sort of set up a long-term plan involving Jesse, and it's a way to shake things up. But here's another crazy theory. This one's really, really crazy. All right. So we know that they love to kill people off at the end of their seasons to sort of set the stage for what's coming up next. This past season, going into season 3, we really set up a story that was big for Oliver and Charles. It was Oliver's play. Charles was a big part of it. You know, Mabel's in the audience. But I wouldn't be shocked if they did a huge story for Mabel leading into season 4. And there is a big person in her life that we have heard about for years, but we have never seen. Mabel's aunt, who owned the apartment in which that Mabel no longer lives in.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because at the beginning of this season, before this season started, people were speculating that Meryl Streep was going to be her aunt.
Yeah, and obviously that didn't happen. So her aunt is still out there. Her aunt is named Salma. Salma Hayek welcome to Only Murders in the Building. You know, if you guys watched Black Mirror this past season,
Oh, she's so funny.
yeah, she was hilarious in that episode. They love to cast big names for this show. I think having Salma Hayek come in and play Mabel's aunt would be really, really fun and interesting. And she's also probably going to die in the finale. And then that is going to be the setup for season 4. What happened to Mabel's aunt? But maybe this is also a way that there's an inheritance or something left behind for Mabel so that Mabel can continue to live somewhere in the Arconia. Maybe there's some sort of way a future is figured out, because they have to figure that out too in the finale, right? Like, she can't just stay with Theo, and she can't just not have a place to call her own. This is Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah, I mean, she could stay with Theo for a little while, but I mean, why not get her into Sting's apartment? Like, yeah, that would make sense. That would be a way to get her the money to be able to actually live at the Arconia and to have an inheritance. I also still feel like she's going to be able to, because they touched a little bit about it in this last episode as well, and they have all season, that she's really like having a hard time figuring out what she wants to do, where she's going. You know, her birthday has happened. She's just like, oh man, like I've reached this milestone. Like, where am I in life? Like, I'm sleeping on Theo's couch. Like, you know, I don't really know what I'm doing with this podcast or where I'm going or what I'm doing with my life. I really want to see it come together in this finale, that Mabel and the podcast with her old turns into something really, really big.
Yes, like that. They deserve all the success in the world for what they have gone through over time. Mabel deserves to have a career. Oliver deserves something that's not going to give him heart attacks all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, we saw that he has now had 2 heart attacks, and this last one was pretty serious. And I think he's going to come to the realization himself at the end of this that he's done with theater. It's too stressful for him. He can't really handle it, but he does have this podcast that fulfills him. And if all of a sudden backers and, you know, sponsorships and all types of stuff comes in, then he'll be able to live off of that.
I have one more theory. This is one I just came up with.
Okay, let's have it.
Okay. You know how Nathan Lane said he wasn't going to be in this season, and they've confirmed it?
Yeah.
They lied in the final episode.
Listen, they lie about stuff all the time. Do we need to talk about Justified? I'm not gonna, ruin that for anything. But there was definitely an actor who was like, I'm not coming back. And then they coming back. And fair enough. Like, they can't go into an interview where they're like, hey, are you going to be on this season? You know, Nathan, he'd be like wrecking the surprise.
Yeah. Nathan Lane
has to say no.
He's going to be back at the end of this. Teddy Dimas, too iconic for this show. We all love having Nathan Lane around. Iconic performer. But Nathan Lane, his character's going to get out of prison, and then he's going to get killed. And then that is going to be the cliffhanger moving into the next season. It is a way that you loop back in the trio in big ways. We know about the history between Oliver and Teddy. Like, I think that they're going to want to do something at the end of this season, whether it is the idea of, okay, we're going to kill off Teddy or we're going to bring in Mabel's aunt. It's just that the Ben Glenroy investigation was fun. It brought us big names and all of that sort of stuff. But I think it's interesting now we get back to a murder investigation that's really personal for the trio, and it involves someone that they either knew or related to or really close to, and it really differentiates itself from what we're getting in season 3.
Yeah, for me, I feel like the show took big swings this season, and they hit some and they missed some, and I feel like it needs to be brought back to the building.
That could be a way in which that happens. Okay, and of course, you guys have cliffhanger theories. Leave them in the comments, or remember, our live stream is coming on October 3rd. We're going to talk all about this finale, and maybe we'll have a big cliffhanger we can all discuss and theorize about together. So join our Patreon. Our link is in the description below. Thank you, of course, to our patrons as well for your support. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you here next time.